Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest and most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion, make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, I, a 34-year-old male, caught my girlfriend, a 39-year-old female, in bed with another man. She is 100,000% insists that it wasn't what it looked like, and I want to believe her. But I feel like I'm just letting my love for her blind me to her otherwise obvious deception, manipulation, and or gaslighting. And guys, this story is just like what it sounds in the title. This guy walks in on his girlfriend with another dude in bed. And she says, it's not what it looked like. What the hell else does it look like? Not to mention the fact that the dude had his shirt off, amongst other things you're going to see here. And you're going to see here as I go through the story, guys, there are a lot of things that you could already see that things have gone bad and gone south with this relationship. But I got to tell you guys, I've done a lot of stories between this channel, but especially my other channel. And there are times when I go over these stories, and these stories, I just want to smack the guy sometimes, wondering how guys can be so clueless. And actually, he has to ask the question, what do I do? You got to be kidding me here. But you got a whole world of just brain dead, clueless guys out there. We know the types, and they just don't get it. So it's entertaining nevertheless. But I'm going to go over this, guys. You can see a little more what I'm talking about here. So it starts off, he says, Reddit, please help. A few nights ago, I went to her house because we had plans to spend the evening discussing some recent issues that we've been having. Recent issues? That ought to tell you something. It was nothing too serious for me, and she had not indicated there was anything seriously wrong. So I pretty much expected to have a heart-to-heart and then spend the night loving her. Spend the night loving her? Dude, no wonder she's cheating on you. Loving her? For a few hours prior, I texted her something along the lines of, hey, what's the plan for this evening? This was followed by another 2 over the course of an hour. She naps and sleeps pretty deeply sometimes, so I just went to her house per the informal plan. Well, the very fact that he said he texted her to say, what's the plan for tonight, tells me more about him. Because obviously he lets her take the lead in the relationship. And women don't want to be the ones taking the lead. They want a guy that's the leader. Instead, he should be saying, hey, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Not, hey, what's the plan, honey? And the fact that he said he's obviously texting her, again shows me something about his character. So little things you got to pay attention to, guys. Upon arrival, I put my key in the door, and it appears that the lock had been changed, rendering the key obsolete. So you can't get a hold of her, and your key doesn't work all of a sudden. Something's up here. I knock several times and ring the bell a few times. Nothing happens. Then I get a call. Then I call and get 2 rings, then voicemail suggesting it was rejected. I called again, and this time it was rejected a bit faster. I checked the Find My Phone app since we shared locations with each other, and the phone was showing as inside the house. New lock, lights off, no answer. I got creeped out and worried about her and her children. Dude, if somebody's breaking into the house, they're not going to stop and change the locks, okay? If she's not picking up the phone and it's going to voicemail and the locks are suddenly changed all of a sudden, that ought to tell you something. And especially what this dude's about to see, he's going to tell him something. I walked around back and tried one of the ground level windows, which let me into the dining room, then proceeded to her room upstairs. So essentially you broke in. Yeah, real smart. Lucky for you, she hasn't been drinking and doesn't have a weapon. That could end very badly. He went upstairs and he says, I reach out to touch her finger under the blanket, and she's actually a he, saying, WTF, man. It was either go nuclear or get the fuck out. And trying to avoid prison, I opted for getting the F out to my sister's house just a few houses down the street. Fortunately, the family was there, and I had a good emotional support. So, he put this real quickly, but he went upstairs, went to the bedroom. Again, you think he might knock on the door or something, but just went to her bed, probably would have scared her half to death. Went to touch her hand and some other dude instead. Now you know why she's not picking up. Now you know why she changed the locks. It should be pretty obvious at that point that it's over. He says, I received no contact from her other than the picture of the open window, which came after 2 freaking hours, and only in response to me finally texting her to ask, do you really not have anything to say? At this point, I lost it and delivered a very definitive blow to her psychologically, agreeing with her something her ex had said a few years ago about how she was very self-conscious about. As a side question, I hope I can get any thoughts on how inappropriate it is to yell hurtful things at someone you just caught in bed with another man that has not bothered to apologize or explain themselves. So he catches her in bed with another dude, and she's talking about the open window in the house. Now, he shouldn't have broken in. But the point is, she's totally ignoring the fact that he walked in with another dude in bed with her. I'm apparently a disgusting human being that is at least as outrageous as me finding her with him. Now, he shouldn't have broken in, and this guy does act like a total, let's be honest, like a little bitch. But he's still a human being, and he obviously is a boyfriend, and look what she's doing to him. Ignoring him, changing the locks, no decency to break up with him. And now she's hooking up with some other dude, and he walks in on it. And she won't even acknowledge what happened. She's focusing on the open window. The next day, I didn't get to speak with her until late afternoon when she finally responded to my messages and unblocked my number. It was blocked because it was so hurtful with mean words. Here's her answer to my what in the holy F. He is a friend of the family since childhood. He recently came out as gay, and he has just moved to our city and messaged her to reconnect, platonically. So you see, it simply wasn't cheating. So she's saying her friend of a family who recently came out had nowhere else to stay, so he came to her house, and since there was no other rooms in the house, decided to sleep in her bed with his shirt off. Yeah, okay, we believe that. Come on here. This guy's actually buying into this? He actually has to ask, what do I do? He says, even if it was him shirtless, me unable to verify anything else before red spiral started to swirl, I never would have considered that cheating, and I wouldn't have expected you to be upset by it. These are things she's saying to him. Wouldn't expect him to be upset by it. You're sleeping in... Come on here. This guy would sleep on the couch or in a spare bedroom, but not in the bed with you with his shirt off. I've heard a lot of things, guys. I've heard a lot of BS excuses, but this definitely takes the cake. She said, and then we snuggled and just felt like you lost... Oh, hang on, let me back up here. I wouldn't expect you to be upset by it. And then, too, we snuggled, and I felt like you lost interest in me, so I wanted to feel a human connection. And finally, if you'd been there, I wouldn't have wanted to share the affection. So she's twisting it around, making me the bad guy for the fact that she had some other dude in bed, who, of course, wasn't straight, according to her. And they were cuddling and snuggling. It's his fault because he's not being affectionate with her. Sure. She denied that he had his shirt off until I showed her a picture in her phone of him shirtless, though completely under the covers, save for his shoulders. So maybe, just maybe, she could have not known, and that he took his shirt off while she slept. That's what she claims. Sure. So this guy, amongst being shocked to find this dude in his bed with his girl, he actually had the time to whip out his phone and take a picture. You kind of think that he might actually, I don't know, make a noise at some point, and she'd wake up. A little strange there. This lack of affection, by the way, has me sleeping in her bed 3 or 4 nights per week, falling asleep on her chest with our arms wrapped around each other, for at least like an hour or two every night. We have, 2 times a week on average, which hardly seems like a dead bedroom to me. And we bang, she says, it's amazing every time. Yeah, well, they all say that. Let's be honest here. You're so amazing. You're so big. This lack of affection, I read that part. Her life is a mess. She's getting evicted, doesn't have a job, and so on. Oh, she sounds like a real keeper. I never judged her for this. She made some mistakes elsewhere and asked whenever we get together to believe her that this is a low point in her life, for understandable reasons and mostly reasonable reasons. As we've written out the chaos of her circumstances, she has worn me out in a lot of ways. I love her for many reasons and was totally willing to stand by her side when she's not performing. Performing what? How she wants to and is capable of getting back up and running. She'd tell you I'm the most positive force in her life and give her confidence. No, it sounds like you're the guy that she uses to stay afloat. That's what it sounds like to me. And maybe she's gotten things back together, no longer needs you, changed the locks in her house, doesn't respond to the texts and all that, and already she's got a dude in bed with her to replace you. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm just connecting the dots and calling it for what I see it. I've heard way too many of these stories to be BS'd at this point. Although, some of the stories I go over are questionable whether they're accurate or not, but truth is stranger than fiction. It says, I love this woman and her kids and don't want things to be over, and I think it's allowing her to gaslight me into believing things I should know better than to believe it. Dude, the fact that she's treating you this way and all these other things, and you're going on about how you love her more than anything and blah, 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 I want to still be with her. Pay attention to her actions. She's treating you like shit. Disrespect after disrespect after disrespect. Not once acknowledging that you're upset here. But you shouldn't have broken into that house. That was a stupid-ass move. Is it even remotely possible she wasn't effing this dude? If she spent more than 4 to 5 of her words on how badly I hurt her and maybe 1/5 or so apologizing to me, is it possible she doesn't even love me at all? Dude, no, she does not love you at all. And yes, she was hooking up with this dude. Don't believe for a second that she wasn't. Do phones ring in such a way that what I heard as call rejection could have been something else? Do I believe her, or do I run as fast as possible, or something in between? I cannot believe you actually have to ask this question. I've got more to say, but I'm just too tired to go further anymore. Depending on reactions, I'll post part 2. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, everyone. And by the way, I looked at her text and found out that she had signed up for Tinder the day before. Aha. She says there's nothing wrong with playing around with such apps as long as you're not hooking up. Jesus effing Christ. Dude, it's over. She's cheating on you. She's lying. She's twisting it around. She doesn't give a crap about your feelings. And guys, in spite of me making fun of the guy and obviously basically saying that he's weak and acts like as you would call, simp or a little bitch, he's a guy. He's got feelings, all that. Okay, fine. Dude, it's over. She's cheating. She's lying. She's twisting around, making you be the reason that she's doing this and attacking you. Okay, aside from opening the window and breaking into the house, which you could have called the cops on, everything else, you're not doing wrong. Just, you're obviously, not the strongest of guys. But no, you don't go back to her. It is over. She's lying. She's cheating. Move on. What is with the sirens around here today? Anyhow, now I'm going to read a few comments here just to show you I'm not alone in these thoughts here. This guy says, one guy says, really, dude? Even if the changed locks, the ignored calls, the blocked number is up to you, but she has serious boundary issues. But I think she's finding an exit plan. She's toxic. Run, Forrest, run. Right. I mean, it's as obvious as it gets. Now, I got to wonder if he doesn't want to tell anybody else because he doesn't want to be embarrassed. And that's why he's resorted to posting this story online. Another guy says, dude, you literally caught her snuggling with a shirtless man. They definitely did more than that. If he was just a friend, she probably wouldn't have blocked or ignored your calls, changing the locks, etc. What more do you need? Take the rose-colored glasses off and block her from your life. Yes. If this guy takes her back, if he doesn't think she isn't treating him bad now, wait to see what happens when he stays with her, the kind of disrespect and bad treatment she's going to give him going forward. Because remember, if a woman doesn't respect you, she's not going to love you. And obviously, she has no respect for this dude. And one final guy says, her explanation might be one of the worst I've ever heard. Dump her and cut off all contact. Have a little self-respect for yourself. Exactly, bro. It is over. And that last little thing he put in there was an update saying that he found out that she had, I guess, signed up for Tinder. What does that say? And the whole, it's just doing it for fun or something like that. No. She's looking for a replacement. Or in this situation, I can keep this guy around and he can help me and he help me with some money and pay the bills and with the kids and all that. And I can go get some side sausage on the side. That's probably also what's going on. Until I find somebody better that I like better and can help pay for things, which I can use. And then I can dump this guy. End it. Move on. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. I eagerly await all your comments in this particular article or particular story. And guys, as I always say, if you come across a really crazy type of story, something that either you found online or maybe some crazy thing that you experienced with a former girlfriend or wife or fiance, whatever, by all means, email it to me. And if it definitely works, I will certainly use it in the future. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.